Writers everywhere know that the key to finishing book-length stories is to fill every spare moment with writing. It's a terribly short-sighted idea. It's Wednesday, around 4:30 p.m., and I've just set the dough to rise in a warm oven. Now I have about 1 hour to do something for myself until pulling that fluffy pile out of the dish and onto a floured counter where it'll become pizza crust for the evening's dinner. Obviously, with my limited time, I head straight to my writing desk to work on my novel, right? Not exactly. Cramming writing time into the margins of days is something many authors do or have done. I'm no exception. Scratching notes early in the morning or late at night, just after or before bed while the house is quiet, or bringing my notebook to my daughter's dojo for extra creative time while she practices her forms, or taking voice notes while pacing the hallway, or weeding the garden, or filling the dishwasher. We all have ways of grabbing onto the spare time hidden within our limited and crammed days on this blue dot flinging through space. But if you, like me, have ever felt guilty about not writing when free time presented itself, this video is for you. I'm here to tell you it's okay, even necessary, to invest in creative practices other than writing so that you may write well. I'll be downstairs, I tell my daughter and partner, earbuds in hand, YouTube playlist cued. I head into the basement, close the door to the rest of the house, and sit atop my throne. Of the 5 songs I'm determined to learn first on drums, despite my partner's wide eyes and alternate suggestions, he is a professional musician and I didn't exactly choose beginner-friendly tracks. I've selected only 2 for the hour. Really, I've selected 1 song and the first minute of the second one. Roughly 50 minutes later, my gluteus maximus is sore. Drum thrones are not unlike bicycle seats, FYI. My mind is empty of all but rhythm and the math of counting, and I'm happy, like really happy, not surface level happy, positively gleeful, fully alive and aware, receptive to the wonder and abundance around me. I head up the stairs, drop my earbuds onto my desk, and grab my notebook before visiting that pile of fluffy dough waiting for me, story ideas already swirling around my gray matter. Writing a book is a realization of intense pressures. Pressure to write well, pressure to talk about writing, pressure to keep the intrigue of writing alive, pressure to take the next step before feeling ready, pressure to maximize and efficientize every moment. Giving into the pressure makes sense. Writers write, right? But if writers only ever write and never practice their creativity in other ways, making connections with themselves and the world, what is there to write about? Remember, experience is storytelling's companion. For everyone except Isaac Asimov, who wrote for 12 to 14 hours a day and said he was wasting time when sleeping, eating, or shaving, at least. Still, adopting a creative process outside of writing can feel like yet another pressure mounted atop the writerly shoulders. You're already smushing your writing time into early mornings or late nights, taking lunches hunched over your desk, pantomiming conversation as you capture yet another stray thought you might just need to use later. How much more can you reasonably handle? I get it. Truly, I do. I too spent years grabbing 15 minutes here, an hour there, a stray moment with my notebook and a pen moving so fast it nearly blurred because I didn't have time to park it and allow adequate processing time. Without taking the time needed to process our thoughts, we may not fully understand how or what we think. If we don't know what we think about something, writing about that thing becomes murkier, more difficult to do. We become buried by artistic execution pressure. Art pulls the pressure release valve. When creating something new or diving in to learn something new to you, you're bound to realize your own cognitive or technical limitations. something I know a thing or two about while learning drums. You mean I have to play different things with my right hand and my right foot at the same time? Sure, I know music and have played a few different musical instruments in my life, but I've never learned drums or any other instrument expressively focused on rhythm rather than melody. Focusing on rhythm keeps me keenly aware of rhythm in language, the way rhythm reaches readers. But if drums aren't your thing, consider the following. Melissa DiCarlo, author of The Art of Crash Landing, shared in a guest article for Writer Unboxed that painting allows her to step back and see the whole, rather than the minutia alone, that what's left out is as important as what makes its way in. Amanda Perel, writer for Odyssey, shared that dance conveys messages through expressions, positions, and movement, and requires the dancer to ask herself, what are you trying to express? How will you get the audience to see it? And these women aren't alone in calling out the importance of artistic endeavors to become better writers. Here are some other art-focused headlines that popped up in a quick search. Art can make you a better writer. How photography made me a better writer. What puzzles teach us about writing. I bought a bass guitar to become a better writer. What baking taught me about writing. When you take the time to appreciate or practice artwork beyond writing, you will make vital connections in yourself and between yourself and the world, which will ultimately enhance your writing. You are also likely to get a better handle on how you actually think about topics that are important to you, topics that may end up in your writing. I mentioned in last week's column that one of my characters, a musician, runs a free community drum class on Saturday mornings for the kids in her town. Part of writing her character well means understanding how a drum teacher may speak to her students, what she would reasonably be able to do with them with a tiny to non-existent budget since she's teaching for free. The cheapest drum setup I found was a used drum pad and a pair of matchsticks, for which I paid $15 after answering a Craigslist ad on a whim. And this setup has now made it into my story. Lev squeezed the sticks in her hand and spoke to the kids filtering into the room. As an ode to this beat-up place on this tired old morning, Lev said as her students made their ways to the semicircle of chairs and dropped into seats, please take out your drum pads and sheet music for Hotel California and turn to verse 6 just before Felder's solo. We're tapping out 16ths in 30 seconds, and remember, stay in control. Don't cross your sticks. She took her seat on the throne, started counting. I'll let you guess whether Lev was a drum teacher before or after I acquired my drum pad. With a simple pad and a pair of sticks, I managed to learn all 40 drum rudiments and increase my timing and dexterity with stick control, a 90-year-old practice book written for snare drummers. I knew Lev's students could use drum pads similarly to learn rhythm, timing, and dexterity, that Lev herself could sink into the monotony of tapping while mulling over big thoughts attached to big emotions. Not only do I realize the abundance inherent in learning via drums, all those beats, all that movement, I gain the processing time I need to mull over the big thoughts and attached big emotions present in my novel in progress. I have the mind space needed to understand Lev as a human being. Understanding my fictional drummer's character is a pressure release valve in the writing process, and her scenes are now some of my favorite scenes to write. Take the pressure off of your writing. If thinking about sitting at your writing desk when you have a spare hour leaves you panicked and shouldering persistent pressure, step away from your writing desk. Seriously. Back away like the desk is ablaze and your paper. Put away the character profile sheets, the list of traits and descriptors. Put away your outline or summary or scratch notes. Put away the pressure to write well or to write at all. Instead, sink into a creative activity, whether that activity is adjacent to your story or not. Bake, draw, garden, dance, crochet, sing, paint, do a puzzle, fold origami, build a fort, play a game, experiment, decorate. Find an activity you like that prompts your creativity, asks you to consider sound, shapes, reactions, and movement. You may find that when you finally return to your writing desk, you are refreshed. Your creative well is full and you're ready to get your inspiration on paper. So, what creative activity inspires you? Happy writing. P.S. What's your favorite way to use the oft-neglected interrobang? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this post with other writers who may need permission to give themselves a creative boost.